This is still the Polity, and we're reaching you live from the Abuja studios of Kaftan TV. Right now, I have Stephanie Anthony, a gender-based youth advocate and also a security analyst, with me to do justice to some of the issues making the rounds in the nation today. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here today.
Thank you so much for sparing out your time to be with us in the studio. And quite a lot has been happening in the nation, particularly the recent rescue of some of the Chibok girls, making it a total of 187 now that has been rescued out of 276. And it's been 10 years already.
Exactly.
It's been 10 years already. 91 of those girls are still, very much in the possession of these terrorists. What are your thoughts on the whole situation?
So first of all, the fact that it's been 10 years since we've been able to actually rescue a full number of the Chibok girls. I think it was on the 14th and 15th of 2014 that this happened, and the administrations have transcended over time. It's really difficult to say why such time has taken, why it has taken the government so long to be able to first of all locate and rescue these girls. And second thing I would want to throw a little light on will be the fact that they're coming back, in batches
children.
And with children. So it brings to light what we talk about when we say sexual exploration and abuse, where because of food. When you're in all this kind of camps, there's the lack of food security that's involved, and you feel like, okay, to get food, I need to sleep with this person, and I need to be able to communicate what I want through giving my body in exchange for these people. And you'll be shocked that majority of the people don't even know who the fathers of the children are. But it's all very common when you are in such kind of exposure, when you're in that kind of enclosure where your rights, first of all, are being taken away from you, one, and then secondly, you don't have a choice. So it's a syndrome where you are getting attracted to your captors, and then the only way to be able to sort for food, to sort for basic amenities, is to give your body in exchange. And so that creates that kind of
judging by your submission now, it's more like a situation where there's where you're put in an ethical dilemma, when you have two wrong choices.
Exactly.
When you're put between two wrong choices, and you just have to,
which
make
the deep blue sea.
Yeah, the devil and the deep blue sea. And you've touched quite a number of issues like the sexual based violence, which I intend to intend for us to touch during the course of this discussion. But then I still want us to look at the holistic security architecture of the country. Over time, we hear the government talk about the success they have made in terms of rescuing these girls in batches, which, just like you said, does not tell well of the government's commitment to actually put this situation to bed once and for all. But then if we look at the trend, 21 girls were rescued. But then Nigerians are saying if 21 of these girls were rescued, there should be arrests. And Nigerians are asking, is this more like the government trying to use these 21 girls that were rescued with 34 children as a smoke screen to what is happening happening underground? Because these girls were taken into captive by people, and if they are rescued, even if it's one or two, there should be news of arrest. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so when it comes to national security, and when we're looking at the nation's security approach and their security architecture, I would want to say that they are doing, they're doing their best to apprehend the captors. However, I also will not take it away from the people why they feel like there's something fishy going on here. Because if you've rescued people, so where exactly, like you're saying, where are the people who captured them? Where have they been put in place? And remember, security in itself is the freedom from fear, freedom from harm, freedom from wants, and then the freedom to be able to have your human dignity. So if these people have been released, but with you are not able to have any form of information about the captors, who is to say who is next? What's going to happen next? So it is quite normal. It's quite it's not far-fetched for people to be still being a form of like there's a bit of a security breach going on here. It's not far-fetched. So that's what I want to say. I think that the government has been doing a wonderful job, but I think that we still need to get more information. A lot more needs to be done. A lot more in terms of, especially with regards to this case where we're looking at the Chibok girls. A lot more needs to be put into consideration to see how not just only the batches of the girls that are being captured and how the captors are being apprehended as well. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now, quite a number of submissions you have made there also. But then, if you talk about the fact that the government, are really doing their best and trying to rescue these girls back in whole. Now, as coming from the point of a security analyst, do you think that it's deliberate that the government are kind of being discreet with this information, or what are your thoughts on this?
So basically, if we're to look at outside the country, if we're looking at other places like the UK and for instance the United States, you find out that transparency is one of the key apparatus to security measures. But we Nigerians, I think Nigerians has a different approach to our security architecture, where the less you know, the better, in a way. And I feel that like the fact that they're withholding information is because it's two things actually. It's two things. It's either they themselves do not have the full grasp of the intending issues at hand. You
mean the government?
Yes.
Now? Okay.
Or it could be, secondly, it could also be the fact that it's best that it's been revealed to the public in a smooth transition, in a seamless transition. That is okay, fine, let's let them know that we've got the girls. Yes, okay, fine, some of them are pregnant, and that in itself is also an issue to our food security, and see like a sexual exploitation and abuse in the camps, in the IDP, in wherever the Boko Haram camps. So I think that the Nigerian approach should be looked into in terms of how we release our information. Transparency also makes the people to feel like they are part of this, like they are part of what's going on.
When you say the Nigerian approach, what exactly do you mean by the Nigerian approach?
I mean like the security, like Nigerian approach towards security.
Yes,
the security apparatus.
Yes, I really want to get your perspective. The Nigerian approach. We've heard a lot of people in the economic field say that talking about the economy now, they say that Nigeria have defied all economic rules, all rules that governs the economic, just like now we see the naira gaining against the dollar, but the prices of commodities have not dropped. So when you say the Nigerian approach to security and insecurity, there's this idea amongst Nigerians now that probably if I see where someone is being killed now and I report if I see a dead man on the ground now and I report to the appropriate authorities, there's this fear in me that I may be accused of being the killer. Or probably I observe some suspicious movements around my vicinity, and I report to the appropriate authorities, and subsequently something happens. In the eyes of the Nigerian authorities and in the minds of a lot of Nigerians, I am the first suspect. So if you take a look at this scenario now, it's more like there is a disconnect between the Nigerian security agencies and the citizens, which is there's no trust between the both of them. So what exactly do you think that the Nigerian authorities now can do now, to rebuild this trust, such that if I see something, I am confident enough to say something, knowing fully well that the Nigerian authority will protect me?
Okay, so when we come into that, I would want to say collective security comes to play when we're not just looking at it from national security, what the government is doing, and it's not just a thing of personal security, what the people are doing, where there is a seamless collaboration with the government and the people. There's already this mindset that Nigeria, I beg, who reporting help? So like you said, if I go and talk now, I'm the first person that people are going to say. But then again, I think that like what we're doing right now in the government is a proper awareness, where like if you notice with the issue of whistleblowing, EFCC is trying to do a very good job in making it open to the public that if you see something, you say something, and then your life will not be threatened. And also incentivize it. Yes. And intensify, like exactly like you said, because in Nigeria money is a strong motivator. So what I'm trying to say is that when we have a collective approach towards security, where from the personal angle and from the national angle, we're able to meet in the middle, have engaged the communities, meet with the vigilantes or the community leaders, the community gatekeepers, and let's say, okay, let me use something more urban, like the estate chairmans, for instance, where people are trying to delegate security from national down to community, to estate, to districts. We're trying to delegate security to these smaller chunks. But if we're working in independence, if we have been independent of each other, and then there is no trust between the police, you don't have trust between the rapid control unit and then the vigilante group, there is still a breach in security. Definitely. When that is not. So we as a government and as a people have to work together hand in hand to bring about that synergy. And like you said, awareness needs to be done. A lot of awareness needs to be brought forward, that we can say, oh, this is happening, and you will be free if you report this situation, like we're doing like with channels where situations are happening, and if you can capture it online on your smartphone and send it over, it is being treated very urgently, and then there is a launch investigation that is launched out immediately with all these things. So that is the way that we'll be able to move together to have a collective approach towards security, because right now if we keep it up like this, our security is going to be independent, and then the link, it's like a circle, a chain of life. Our links need to be intertwined. So that, in my opinion, that's what I believe we should do when it comes to security. We need to have a collective approach towards security. Definitely, talking about that, the government and the citizens trying to meet halfway, so that to ensure that there is there's confidence between the government and through awareness, through proper awareness. And like you also said, and which I also agree with, like incentives, like when we're trying to create this waste management policy and approach, there was waste for cash, creating that avenue that propels the public to want to speak up, and desanctifying the mindset of oh, if I talk, what will my voice be? What will my voice do? You understand? So that's what I think.
Very well, then let's discuss some gender-based issues right now. What are your thoughts on the current state of the amount of protection that the women and children get in Nigeria right now? I just want to get a general overview on that, because we are still heading somewhere as regards that very conversation.
I think we're coming up I think that over the last 5 years, let me say about 8 years to say, there has been a large drive towards gender mainstreaming in the government policies, in state policies, in local government policies, and also in corporate and schools. But it's not something, like they say, Rome is not built in a day. It's not something that you say that we have gotten. We're not there yet. So I think that there's still room for more improvement, and there's still room to channel gender mainstreaming. Yes, that's in a general note. That's what I have to say in that regards.
Okay, now talking about the room for general mainstreaming of these policies, it means that the Nigerian government, Nigeria as a whole, cannot claim ignorance of certain things, because Nigeria as a country is signatory to a whole lot of accords that protects the women, that protects the children. And I want to draw my my example from like the Maputo protocol that was signed in over 20 years ago, within which protects the rights of women and children, and also protects them from certain traditional practices. Now between the year 2020 and year 2023, there have been reported cases of sexual and gender-based violence against women and children to the tune of about 27,000. With Nigeria being signatory to all of these accords, here and there, United Nations, UNESCO.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this? Because within this time frame, 27,000 is quite. It's quite scary and should call for worry.
Yes, thank you so much for bringing this, bringing it down. It's one thing to be signatories to all these treaties and accords on theory. It's another thing to put in the right actions that really will intensify the right approach to tackling sexual and gender-based violence against women and children. For instance, the UN in itself has created different initiatives. One which I was significantly a part of is the Spotlight Initiative, okay, where it's focusing on prevention and response mechanisms and preventive measures, by creating a link between the liaising with the police, a call center, and then hospitals are also involved, where issues like rape kits and rape victims can be able to come out and speak. But you will find out that as much as all these principles and all these things are involved, the mindset of some of these people, even though that they are doctors, even though that they are learned individuals, they still feel like, now the way she dressed, that has surmounted to her being raped. But what about an 18-month-old baby? Was she dressed in a seductive way? Was she dressed in a way that will amount for her to be raped to the point of death? What about a 5-year-old girl who is doing nothing but trying to enjoy her age? Or what about people who are in their 13s and 12s that are still learning what it means to be a woman and how to handle menstruation, that are being given out in the place of child marriages and child labor, or against your will to become sex workers.
Sex workers.
So it's one thing to be participatory in the international accords and treaties. It's another thing to be operational in those things, and it starts with mindset.
Okay, now when you talk about the fact that it's one thing to be signatory to these international accords here and there, and it's another thing for those accords to be implemented. So what do you think are the setbacks as regards why this these accords have not, taken up full force in this part in this part of the world, in Africa especially, because looking at 27,000 cases, reported cases of sexual, gender and sexual based violence. If we look at the amount of convictions, these are just reported cases. If we look at the amount of convictions of this that goes along with these cases, they are, quite very inferior. And do you think it boils down to some of the government policies? Are there some of the government policies that makes it difficult for this accords
me
to
two
be
questions at the
yes, and I want you to unbundle it in one breath because of our time.
Because of time. Okay, so what I would say is the government should increase their participation in communal levels. Communal levels. Okay. And as much and then I'm not saying that the urban woman should not be protected. The urban woman should also be protected, but we should also channel our focus on the rural women. These rural women hardly even have time to read newspapers or even listen to the news to know what their rights are, to know that there are provision for them to be able to speak out and report these cases. And then, most of all these people want to handle these issues in families, in their living room, amongst their brothers. You hear a woman, I for one, I'm Igbo by tribe, and we have cultures that detect some certain things that people should not hear outside, some certain things, so it should be settled in the family. And if these family members or if these elders and umunas and umunes are not well versed with the reports and with the accords and with the opportunity for gender mainstreaming, they would also still be part of the problem. Because by the time your husband is beating you and beating you and beating you and beating you and you're keeping quiet, you're not telling anybody in your church, you're not telling anybody in your family, you're not telling anybody, to the point like may God rest her, may she continue to rest in peace, like Osinachi. And she died 2022 April as well. Nobody is aware of what is going on in your home because of, in quotes, shame. So how are the government going to be able to step in? The second thing is the government should continue to work on creating training and capacity building of their staff, from police level to state level to healthcare workers. They should learn to treat the people who come to talk to them about this certain gender base with dignity and respect. Okay. Not you come to report a rape case and they say see the way you're dressed. Of course they rape you. So they need to be able to create a more inclusive approach, an inclusive demeanor, and an atmosphere where people feel safe enough to come and report,
to speak up.
To speak up. If you don't feel safe, they will just say, let me mind my business and go and do what the needful, or keep it up. So we need to encourage people to speak up. And then secondly, the government should continue to work towards capacity building of their staffs, their personnel that are involved in gender mainstream. And I know that the Ministry of Women Affairs, they are doing a very good job in regards to advocacy and awareness. But we can never stop speaking up.
Thank you so much for your time. Time is playing a very fast one on us this afternoon, but then there's no way we're going to leave this show without discussing an issue that is biting really hard on every Nigerian right now, regardless if you're staying in the city, in the suburb. Everybody is complaining about the electricity issue right now. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this? Because there is a proposed hike in the prices in the electricity tariff, and Nigerians are complaining. You're hiking the prices, but we are not even getting the product that you want to hike the prices for. What are your thoughts on this? On the final note.
So I'm going to be in the middle here. I'm going to speak from the side of the receiver and then from the angle of where the government is coming from. from the receiving end, it is really, it's a hard blow, because it just came out of nowhere, just like with fuel subsidy, how all of a sudden we were from 7,000 to fill up your car to paying almost 60,000 to fill it up. But the government is assuring us that all these things we should try and take it with good faith, because it's part of the way that they are trying to process. You know, to try to create a better Nigeria for all. And I want to believe them. It's not easy when you usually would buy 10,000 naira, you get like 110 units. Now 10,000 naira is 40 units. And it's really, it's going to affect the price of goods, bread, whether gen or not gen.
Definitely.
It's going to rise prices. And it's going to affect the delivery of services as well. And in all is going to, but the essence of all this is that the power minister, they are trying to create a transformed energy apparatus for us here in Nigeria. And at the beginning points, you are expected to have a little bit of hitches,
challenges.
Yeah, but I personally want to believe that this is just for the moment. And once this wave is over, everything will get better. I truly trust the government on that, and I know that towards energy, they are really championing a better energy situation, a reform for us. And I believe that that's what's going on at the moment.
Stephanie, Anthony, thank you so much for your time. And I must reiterate that since you trust the government so much, when things get better, I won't hesitate to call you again to come back on the show to remind you that you made a prophecy that the government have everything under control. Thank you once again for your time and coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're always welcome. We do hope to have you on the show again sometime.
There's no problem.
All right, viewers at home, this is where we draw the curtain on today's episode of the program. Do well to join us again, same time, same station tomorrow. My name remains Francis Adeniyi. Bye.